what is going on? We want to welcome you back to Love and Marriage Unfiltered.
Let's go.
Listen, you are chilling with the straws today. You got Coach Shabaka here.
Coach Jay, what's up? What's up?
And listen, y'all, we're going to bring to you a topic that some of you need to know this topic. And maybe, you know, other married people, you can chime in because we want to see some things in the comment section, okay? So the topic of today, things we wish we knew before we got married. Yeah, before we got married.
It's gonna be hot.
Yep.
Let's go. Things we knew before we got married. You want to start it off? What's one thing you if you could talk to your younger self before you got married to prepare yourself?
I was about to be funny and be like,
what's that?
But I was gonna say ladies first, but you did make me go first. So never mind. That didn't work. So, you know, I think I would have something that I wish I had known before, like the marriage journey. And we've already kind of talked about this, but I think because of our marriage journey was different, I really did not anticipate having to revisit things that we went through during our courtship or through like dating. And so I feel like I wish I would have known, and because you know, you kind of sometimes you can fall into this, it's going to be so blissful, everything's going to be so peaceful, and you have to work up to that. It's something that that you create. And I think I thought that it was just something that's just you married and now this just about to happen. Y'all are gonna get married, you're gonna be happy. The movies definitely messed me up because I'm like, I love romance movies and like,
So what you're saying is you walked into the marriage thinking it was going to be this romantic movie. It was going to be just perfect bliss, and we're just going to ride out into the sunset. That's what you're saying? That's what you're telling the people?
That's what I'm saying. So,
wow, okay.
Well,
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to,
Yeah, but meaning like not knowing that you have to create that. So it's like the arguments or the this or that. Like if you go watch a movie, seriously, like if you go right now, pull up any romance movies, like they don't show you like the ugly parts, like that you have to go through. And so when you hit those humps, you know what I'm saying? You're like, you feel like something is wrong when really it's the natural, normal thing that you would experience in a marriage or in a relationship versus
I agree.
Thinking you just smooth sailing and it's like, oh, look up. Yeah.
I think the process here it is. I think the trials precedes the honeymoon. Like the trial comes before we ride out into the sunset. And before you can ride out into the sunset, you got to go through this trial period. You got to be tested. I always say every relationship needs to be tested, tried,
So do you feel like they put the honeymoon in the front because they were preparing you to say, like, just enjoy this little time before you, like, really go into the back?
That's where a lot of married couples get wrong because you have this thing, and I don't even know where the honeymoon comes from. Like who started the whole you get married
that's a whole
and you have a honeymoon on the front end, and you never hear anybody talk about having that honeymoon on the back end. But here's the thing: the honeymoon, it's just a short period of time, right? You don't hear people saying that you go through this honeymoon period. It's probably most people will communicate or say your honeymoon can be like the first 6 months of the first year, and then it kind of dwindles down. But it takes work. It takes being intentional to continue to have that honeymoon. But I really feel like those trials, like the relationship needs to be tested and proven.
I mean, how many tests?
But here's the thing, because you only see. I say that because you only see so many different facets of a person. And if you don't give yourself an opportunity to see this person that you say you want to be with for the rest of your life, mm-hmm. It's hard to, even if you've been dating for years, right? And most people, if you know there's the one, you're not going to date for an extended period of time. Some people still do, but let's just say, right, you've been dating for a couple of years. Even in that, you're still not going to see the different shades, the different seasons of a person. It takes time, it takes trial, and sometimes you have to be tested.
Okay, I'm gonna let you finish.
In the midst of pressure, in the midst of lack, in the midst of maybe the trust has been gone, the love, I don't want to use the word lust.
Please don't.
It's not there.
I heard
but just
somebody use that word. I'm like,
I don't
want to use completely incorrect in
I don't
regards
want
to
to use the word
marriage.
love, but
that ain't it.
Just
The
how
desire,
the desire, how you felt about the person, it's it's no longer there. It's not as intense as it used to be, and it needs to be tested. Because a lot of times when all the accessories are gone, right?
I wanted to hit on something because you about to go past the point.
Okay, what are you about to say?
Okay, so you said
make sure you have your coffee. Pull up on us, y'all. Come on.
Or you can get some green tea. Like we mix it up today. It's coffee though. Okay. We grab your coffee, grab your green tea.
Come on. All right.
But because we're gonna be here for a little bit, we want you to kind of hang out with us.
Come on in. Let's go.
Hang out with us. So
what you was talking about?
You said like to see the different sides of the person.
Okay.
When we got married.
Oh, this is gonna be good, y'all.
Answer carefully. When we got married, did you realize? Because now we're kind of seasoned in the thing, right? Like, did you realize that you were gonna have to go through this many, what you call this, shades or seasons or flavor, whatever you want to call it? Did you realize that you were gonna have to go through that many different, elements of me as a wife? Or did you marry, like when you marry me, could you have imagined like, okay, we're gonna go through these different seasons, my wife is gonna change, or like from that perspective, are you expecting it? Like when you go into the marriage, I don't feel like we came in thinking about that.
No, I can't speak for a woman's point of view, but for a man, a male's point of view, a lot of times we're not thinking like that. We're not thinking of I'm going to walk into this marriage and I just cannot wait to see these different shades and these different moments. It's just like men, we living in the moment and we take it as it comes to us. If I'm wrong, fellas, drop something in the chat, drop a message, let me know I'm off. But from just my point of view, I just don't feel like before we get married, a man is thinking like, man, I can't wait till I see my wife, and maybe you see her, and it's a lean season in your marriage, or maybe it's just you guys are not feeling each other. Or just
but that was my point of you saying like the tests and the trials and the seasons, you got to go through the seasons, which all of this is true. But before we got married, there's no way that we knew that you were going to experience those seasons. And I feel like when you start thinking about that, you start looking at breakups, you start looking at people divorcing, like this person changed, and like because the trials can change you. And so now people giving up on the relationship, the marriage relationship, this can even be in a dating relationship, but you start giving up too soon because now we've hit a season and a person changed, when that is a part of the marriage. You're going to continuously change, prayerfully for the better, right? Like you want to grow and grow forward. But now knowing, that now, but if you would have known that before marriage, this is a good question. And then you still got to say what the thing you wish you knew. But if you would have known that before marriage, how many seasons, how I was going to change, and like my personality or my emotions or, my ambitions, whatever it could have been, would that have impacted you marrying me?
That's a good question.
Now that you've had a chance to see these seasons.
I think it would have affected me in the wrong way. And I say this because it's almost like when if the Lord was to reveal, right? We all want to know, like, Lord, what is it that I'm called to do? What's my purpose? Show me my gift. Some of you guys that are watching, you know your gift. But there's a lot of, there's some people that may be watching, and you still just trying to figure out. And I'm going somewhere with this. You may still be trying to figure out your purpose, or you may be aware of your gift. You're just trying to figure out, Lord, how do you want to work through me, right? Yeah. But a lot of times, the Lord may be calling you to do a particular thing, and a lot of times, He doesn't show us the full plan.
Yeah, most
right?
Of the time
because a lot of times, plan, yeah. if the Lord was to show us a plan, and you see the end result, but you see what you have to go through, right? A lot of times we will probably abort the mission. Mm-hmm. And I say this because it relates to your question. Because if I were to see the different facets of you, and I had to see all the, so I knew the end result, right? I knew that, man, my wife is just blossomed. She's a businesswoman. She's great with the kids. She has grown to be a great wife, great mother. Just grown tremendously.
Don't mention I put right? That food in your
belly. Yeah, she's a great cook and like a chef.
You. Come on now. I'm old school in that
come
way.
On. Yes. But in the midst of that though, right? There's some seasons where we had to go through that. We hit some bumps in the road, right? And if I would have known that at the beginning of the marriage or prior to us getting married, I'm sorry, that I could have prematurely aborted the mission.
Right.
Like knowing the end possibly, but seeing that, hold up.
Is this your younger you?
I have my younger you. I have to go through all this just to do that, to get that. And sometimes you can judge the process.
Okay.
Or you can underestimate the process and overjudge the destination or the results, right? So you're trying to judge the process. I got to go through this, and sometimes the process does not look feasible to the end result. And a lot of times it's almost like cooking. You're a cook, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody wants to see the finished product, the food, right? It's nicely portioned out. It's in the pot. It's cooked. You making your macaroni.
He comes trying to stir my pot.
Right. It's coming straight out the oven. The cheese is melted. The food is done.
He's trying to get some macaroni tonight,
all I have to do is come and sit down and eat.
He's trying to get some macaroni.
But the minute you were to ask me, hey, babe, before you cook all that good food, hey, can you come help? It takes away a bit because it's like, I know the food is going to be good, right? I know it's gonna be on point. I know I'm going to get fed well, but it's just the fact that the minute you asked me to help, it put a different twist on it. And I hope y'all are following me because it's the same thing that knowing that if I were to know what you will have become as a woman, I get that. I can check the box. But understanding that if I had a snapshot of the things we had to go through together in order for you to blossom the way you have blossomed.
So what you're saying is you would have missed out on your blessing.
Maybe, right? So it would have put a pause on things to say, hey, am I willing to go through these things to be able to reap the harvest of a beautiful wife, a faithful wife, a godly woman, So it's just one of those things that sometimes not seeing the process can work in your favor. I said all that to say that. Lord, I'm glad you didn't show me the process. Lord, I'm glad you didn't show me the process.
But listen, I do think it takes some maturity, right? So if you're having these discussions at home, let me just put a plug in it. Be unoffendable, okay? Because that answer, we're not trying to start no fights, okay? Like, again, this is unscripted. He didn't know what my, thing I wish I knew. Like, we just kind of are flowing. So we're not trying to start any arguments at home. We want everybody going to bed happy, sleeping in the same bed, nobody on the couch, okay? So be, with caution, answer these questions if you will, if you dare. But just be unoffendable because at the end of the day, this is the past. You don't want to bring up the past and then everybody mad.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to get tricked now.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, but he just would have been missing out on his blessing because the Lord has done a wonderful
some
thing.
great things.
Yes.
Some great
But I
things.
think
I'm
that's
blessed.
really in anything that we do. I think because you may not understand like the process, you don't know all the whys,
Yes.
but
Yes.
in the end, you're gonna, you'll get the answer. And this is the answer. Like I am the
Yes.
answer to.
Inside and out. Inside
Yeah,
and out.
like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I
Inside
really
and out.
feel like
Absolutely.
we've been very connected to a point where like help meet for real. Like like having like us having each other's back and kind of knowing what the other person is thinking, all of that.
Yes.
So okay, I answered the question. So now we're going to transition to what is the thing you wish you knew before?
Man, I think one thing that if prior to us getting married, I wish I would have really had some clarity and understanding about just the amount of work. And when I say that, I don't say work like it's a miserable thing, but I
I'm
guess
glad it's not miserable.
yeah, it's not miserable. But I would say, because you hear people say that marriage takes work, right? And it's just we say it just so reluctantly, right? We say it with just with ease. It takes work, and but the work, when you say that, it actually takes work behind that, right? Behind the scenes, it takes work. It takes being intentional about
Right.
specific things, and um, I because our situation is different. We've been knowing each other since elementary, and I walked into the marriage just thinking things were going to happen. I
Okay.
walked into the marriage just thinking that, man, we've been knowing each other. We dated in college. Like, we got this thing taken care of. This is going to be the best thing ever. Um, and I overestimated the work that I needed to do, that I think every couple or every man needs to do in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't bypass the process. You cannot bypass being intentional about spending time with your wife. You cannot bypass about being intentional about having a plan of action in terms of the direction where the family going. It being spiritual, fitness, business wise, it being just relationship wise, just right, and not understanding that even with the communication piece, which is very vital, that sometimes not communicating enough and not communicating in such a way
Well, that's a
where
whole
I
show
know,
right there.
right?
We're gonna have to do one on communication.
But these are the things that I wish that if I could go back, I would talk to my younger self and say, hey, like, be okay with putting in the work, right? Know that things are just not going to happen, and you're going to have to be intentional about putting things in place, uh, depending on where you want your family to go, depending on where you want you and your significant other, your wife, to go, right? So, with us, our spiritual walk was important, our fitness was important, and we had to be intentional. And here's the thing, though: some things I had to step aside and let you lead. And I had to be okay with, not so much taking my hands off the wheel, but say, hey, babe, you're strong in this area, right? You're gifted in this area. I'm gonna step aside, right? Because we moved together as a couple, right?
Yes.
My wife is not, you don't stand behind me or anything like that. But we moved together as a couple, as one. So, um, just understanding that some things that you may be more gifted at, and you lead, and we still work together. And then there'll be some things, obviously, that I lead as well. But understanding that I don't always have to lead in every situation. And some, those of you that may be watching, you may disagree or agree, but it's going to be some situations where your wife may be more gifted, may be more skilled, maybe have more experience in a specific area that, you may have to kind of lean on her expertise, lean on her gift, lean on her skill that she developed in the marketplace, and to say, hey, we're going to let you lead this, and I'm going to be right here to support you. So, to go back to the question, if I were to talk to a younger self of mine, I would just let him know that the work is the work, And in the midst of the work, you setting yourself up to reap the harvest for later on, for years to come.
Okay.
And just to change my perspective, because sometimes men, we get caught up in just doing it just to appease the wife, right? So y'all know what I'm talking about.
We know too. We can tell,
right? And really, really just trying to put some things in place so you can reap that harvest. So you can have a wife who can live in her feminine, her most feminine ways that she wants to, right? A wife that really honors her husband, a wife who really has the joy of the Lord. So these different things that if you want, I've had to assist and be intentional about certain things. That hey, if I want my wife to be in this manner, if I want my wife to be able to communicate in this manner, that I had to put some things in place. So that's the work that I'm talking about. And there's a blessing in the work, right? So
okay,
yeah,
that's a word. That's a whole word.
Yeah, that's
blessing in the work.
Blessing in the work. So the work you got to be able to enjoy that season, because on the back end of that, there's a harvest waiting. You have a wife who enjoys being around her husband. You have a wife who honors her husband. You just blossom. And you remember when we went to counseling, one thing I've learned that in order for you, and he created this he communicated this analogy to me.
Okay, what was it?
You remember what he was saying, that a lot of times men, we want to withdraw from the bank. But sometimes we forget to put those deposits in.
That was a good one.
We forget to put those deposits in.
Every now and then I bring that one up.
But guess what? In order for you to put those deposits in, you gotta have substance. You gotta have something to put in the bank.
That's
so
good.
so and it takes.
So we
work.
don't want to be in a negative. We don't want to.
Yeah. I don't want to desire something. I don't want to desire something from you, and I haven't put it in work. Yeah, so I don't want to desire something from you, and I have not put a deposit in. And what does that look like? That's me making sure that maybe even on a day-to-day basis, making sure I'm putting some deposits in. And the deposit can be something small as just making sure that I look at you and let you know I love you every day. And it's coming from a genuine place. A deposit may look like, if my wife, one of my wife's love languages is flowers. And making sure that every so often, whatever the cadence may be, that I make sure that I give you your flowers. So you gotta, just learn that in the marriage, right? It took me time. It took me time to understand that rhythm and flow.
So I think you just hit on something. You said love language that like sparked something in me.
Okay, come on.
So I feel like another thing that people should know before they get married is that love languages can change. Because I think my love language, I'm trying to even for you, I'm trying to remember what my love language was when we first started. But maybe I had a love language and I added on. It was something to that effect. Because I think when we got married, you might have felt like my love language was, what do you feel it was? Like if you had to go back based on my actions, because sometimes we can say we have a love language, but really you're displaying something else. So that person's trying to meet the needs based on your actions. So if you had to like pick what you felt when we first got married.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. I'm just thinking.
I mean, it's been a little while, so yes. I mean, but
I would say so. You had a couple that
so like in the beginning, before like in the very beginning, like not now. What do you feel if you had to say what my love language was, if you can remember? What do you feel it was in the beginning? I think it was a combination, but
I think it was time spent together.
In the beginning?
In the beginning. That's what I think. I think it was time spent together.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was time spent together. I think that was one of your love languages.
It was.
Yeah, and I think just affirming you as a wife.
That's the one.
Affirming you as a wife, that because.
But you know what? That is what you, but that's what you thought it was. So no, but that's what you thought it was at first. And so I remember it could sometimes we would kind of have disagreements on like that the affirmation because you thought I needed affirmation, okay, and I really just wanted to be heard like at that time. So time spent is still my love language. Okay. It was my love language in the beginning as well, but I think it was gifts. Like I loved for you to do things for me and get me things, and then time spent. But you would do the affirmation. Well, like I see, but the way you would do it, I'm like, this is not. But we had to mature. Yeah,
give me gifts. Give me some things. I need some.
Yes, but then with the affirmation, I felt like the way you would do it, I didn't feel affirmed, and so we would kind of, get into it because it was like, okay, well, if you need credit for, like you might say it in a way where it's like. Even if I needed affirmation, that wasn't it. But fast forward to today, I do need affirmation. I'm less about gifts, which probably helps you. I'm gonna readapt my love language back to gifts. But right now, like it hasn't been gifts, and that's why like sometimes I'm like, babe, don't give me anything. You don't get like let's just do things for the kids or just spend time together, nice meal or something like that. Mm-hmm. But now I do need the affirmation. When at first it was like I'm confident, I'm comfortable, but I think because I changed seasons and I've really developed as a woman, now it's like, does my husband see me? Like, do you see like the woman I've become? Do you see like I'm not like talking about every single thing as it comes up? Like, do you see? And like now I want the affirmation when at first it was not a love language.
Absolutely.
But here's the kicker. My love language changed, and I don't remember ever telling him that it changed.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of, eventually we did, but when it was like happening, we just kind of went in that direction.
Yeah. That's why communication is so important.
Yeah.
That's why sitting down, debriefing throughout having just a system in place where you just talk through certain things. Right? Mm-hmm. So you can open yourself up and just continue to learn your significant other, because this is the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life, and it's just you go through this course of life, mm-hmm. and in the midst of that, people are just always changing. So it's just a blessing that we're able to be at a place right now where it has become a second, like the second nature is that particular muscle for us, right? That's why I can describe it, right? It's a muscle, right? You have to continue to work that muscle out. What is it that I'm saying? I'm just saying about just the working at that muscle in terms of just communicating, right? Just doing the whole, just the marriage thing. And once you develop that tolerance, or you can develop that, the tolerance, and almost like working out, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like you may start off and you may feel weak, or you may feel like you don't feel like doing it. The same in marriage, right? You do certain things and you just don't feel like it. You don't want to do it. Yes. And sometimes in marriage, you gotta just go through it. You just gotta do it enough to the point where you may end up falling in love, or you may still end up enjoying it, but you never know if you don't never start or even quit. So I think, with us, we just continue to move forward. We kept putting one foot after the other. We kept trying, I think for us, it was just not trying to go to another subject, but I think for us, it was just
we just free flow.
Constantly just trying to get better, And sometimes I think you mentioned it in a different episode, but you were just saying that sometimes it's never gonna be equal. Both of you guys are never gonna be going hard in the marriage at the same particular time, at the same intensity.
It's very rare.
Because there's been a lot of times where, I didn't want to put a lot of work into it. And
sometimes you just you're working on different levels of fuel. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because like you might have different things happening in your life than what I have, and so maybe I have the stamina for whatever we're dealing with, and I'm like undergirding you, and then vice versa. So I think one key thing that we would share is that in a marriage, it's like it's gonna be difficult for both people to be at 100% at the same time. And I think that that's why it is a partnership. That's why it's a partnership. Hey, it really is. It's a partnership because the truth is If you fail, then I fail.
Yes.
If I fail, then you fail.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that we had to realize in the marriage. I once heard somebody say it like this. They said, y'all are not enemies. Like, you're not enemies, because sometimes it's like you feel like it's you against him and you against her, and it's a clash. But when you really embrace that, like, no, like, we're a team. Because we remember we say it a lot, team straw, like, because we really are a team.
Yeah.
And when you start doing things individually, is where now we have division, and now that's where, you know, that ugly D word starts to be put on the table, because you're doing your own thing, and you have to work. You really have to work together, and I feel like that's something that you should know before getting married. That's something that you should know. So, you know, I think there's some other topics that definitely we're excited to dive into.
Yes.
Because every time we talk, because again, you know, we like to just free flow. Sometimes we'll think of topics before we come on here, but most of the time you're just gonna get like this raw, transparent, unfiltered us, because like that's really the only way we know how to be.
Come on.
Yes, that's it.
Yes,
so
guys, thank y'all for pulling up on us, having a cup of coffee with us. Before you leave, if you like the video, please hit like, subscribe, share the video, guys. Drop in comments if you want us to talk about something that you're interested in, maybe something you and your significant other is going through, and you just want some key takeaways. Or you just want some, you know, you want us to give our opinion about the specific matter. Drop a comment.
We want to hear from you. So listen, y'all. We are so glad that you joined us today, hanging out, chilling with the straws.
Come on.
Yes, love and marriage unfiltered. So we're going to have many, many more topics that we're going to be bringing to the table. I think the further along we get, the juicier it's going to become. We're going to have to talk about some really good topics coming up. So we thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank y'all. Till next time. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time.
All right, y'all.
Peace.